Now, conversations around unions continue as the Academic Staff Union of Universities on Sunday declared a 2-week total and comprehensive warning strike across all public universities in Nigeria. The announcement was made by the national president of the union, Professor Chris Piuna, at an ongoing press briefing, that took place in Abuja on Sunday at the University of Abuja. Well, the latest standoff between the university lecturers and the federal government comes despite ongoing negotiations aimed at averting another round of industrial action in the nation's tertiary institutions. Joining us on the show to discuss the latest ASUU strike is Dr. Sunmonu, president of the Congress of University Academics, CONUA. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program today.
Yeah, good morning, listeners, and it's a pleasure having us in the studio this morning.
All right, well, let's get straight into it. ASUU is back to the striking ground. Your take on this, because it doesn't sound like you're all speaking in one accord.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before I respond to the question you put across, let me join others in commiserating with the Arise family on the tragic loss of Miss Somtochukwu Maduago. May God repose her soul, and may this be a thing of the past, not only to journalists, but in our country, because every soul matters. That said, with respect to strike action, which is a legitimate tool, I think I am not competent to speak on an action which is legitimate by another union or a sister union, except that to say what our union, which is the Congress of University Academics, believes in. We believe that strike, if it is to be used at all, should be sparingly used so as not to have more damage than what you seek in the first instance, rather, to address. And that is what we stand for. I am not competent, I am not a member of that union, and it will be like a meddlesome interloper if I'm speaking on a legitimate action. But as far as we are concerned, what are the reasons that we are not on strike is actually to declare, using this medium, provided appreciation to you, that our union is not on strike, and we didn't start today. That has been our cardinal philosophy, because it's been evaluated over time that it does more damage than good. But it's a legitimate tool which should be respected, which should be accorded its rightful place. That said, I don't want us to mix together uniformity with unity. We have issues with the government, the same issues that the other unions are taking up with the government. We also have those issues. Have we been given platform to put on the table those issues? It's a mixture of yes and no. In October 2024, when the 2009 renegotiation committee was constituted and inaugurated, our union, being a new union, or due to some other reasons, was conspicuously, and I want to make bold to say that deliberately omitted for various reasons. But we protested this by writing letters and by involving our trade center, which is the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. And by December of that year, we got a letter extending invitation to us to be at the table. But since January, up till the time I'm speaking to you, or up and until around September, before 11 September 2025, there was nothing that we heard from the government. No physical invitation, and we are aware that consultations or negotiations or meetings were going on with other sister unions up until 11 September 2025, when the Minister of Education, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, then invited us physically to a meeting where we tabled two issues conspicuously, two main issues for us. Until we put our issues on the table, and the federal government gives counter offer, which if we disagree with them, that is when we can declare a dispute. We can't be railroaded into joining an action that we know next to nothing about. In fact, there are a number of things I'm just getting to know this morning when the Minister of Education appeared on the sister station. So it doesn't sound logical. It smacks of lack of intelligence. If you just join the bandwagon by joining an action declared by a sister union that you know next to nothing about.
Okay, so what are the mechanisms you're pursuing then? Because it's clear that you're still disgruntled. Your needs haven't been met either. What are you pursuing as CONUA, since you feel ASUU's, ASUU are on their own, so to speak? What are you doing from your side?
As I've mentioned to you, if when the renegotiation committee was inaugurated in October 2024, if we had been brought to the table, we will have put across to the government the issues we have. At least formally, we will have done that. But when that wasn't extended to us, what we did and our approach to that was to protest, one, by writing letters formally to the Minister of Education. Then we extended that. Anytime we wrote letter to the Ministry of Education, we copied Ministry of Labor. And that engagement, we also had engagement with the Ministry of Labor, reporting the Ministry of Labor to the Ministry of Labor, which culminated. It took a long time though, which culminated in the meeting with the Minister of Education on 11th September 2025. If we are brought to the table, and we put across. So one of our approaches is to get across to the government, and if those fails, we also have the legal means. In fact, on the 3.5%, I should say at this point, pardon me please, just 1 second. On the 3.5%, we have maintained that we were not on strike in the year 2022. And that we deserved our full payment. We wrote letters like this. And when those failed, we have, instituted a pre-action notice. And we have intimated the Federal Ministry of Education on that.
Okay. A lot of people have always said that CONUA is like a government gig. And I use that word in, loose slang parlance, gig, that this is pretty much government's arm to make ASUU look very bad. What's your reaction to that? Secondly, as regards this, a lot of people would say CONUA doesn't carry that metal. You don't have as much members as ASUU, obviously. ASUU has a longer staying power, and they keep saying that you're a government gig because there was approval made for CONUA during a protracted strike with ASUU, and it was part of the tools to be able to delegitimize ASUU of some sort. So you go into court with a government that doesn't respect court orders, it just cements the fact that you're sort of like a government appendage. That's what a lot of people say about CONUA. And they don't take you serious. Like Falana SAM was here just now. It doesn't really take you guys with great seriousness. What do you say to all this?
Well, he didn't say that in those words.
Anyway, he didn't say that in those words, but
thank you.
He was making an argument of certain other unions are mushrooming, which means that you guys are not a substantive union.
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions. Please permit me to start from the rear.
Yes.
Which is about membership. Yes, it is true that we don't have the numerical strength that the other union has. And that is expected because we're just about 2 or 3 years old, even though the idea started in 2018. And that idea having started in 2018, we approached the government for registration, and eventually culminated in the registration in in October 2022, which eventually, with the eventual giving of the certificate in January 2023. So we're still young. We are not doubting that. That's about the honest criticism by Nigerians to us, which we agree with. To say that because we have a small numerical strength, we are mushrooms, well, with due respect to legal luminary Mr. Femi Falana SAN, is a party in this matter. He was part of those the other union used against us in court, so he's going to be a biased person. I don't know whether he told you that he's an interested party. He's going to be a biased person. His opinion is going to be biased. And one of the scriptures says, don't despise the beginning. We are just starting. And it happened to all organizations, including the other union. They started small. We are not too young to know that they started small. And at a point, I'm going to respond to the other question, which is really much more important, please. Okay. The other question of being government lucky. If we are a government lucky, no, just a moment, please. Permit me to respond.
Go ahead.
If we are government lucky, our registration would not spend up to 5 years before it was, before it was acceded to. If we are government lucky, like I told you the other time, I was listening to the other Minister of Education in another sister station this morning, saying that government has met with the other union a number of times, more than other union, even other non-teaching unions that have been there for ages. But so the circumstances surrounding our registration, put us in the bad spotlight.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
That's it.
But our issues preceded that. The issues started 2016. And this union, who were part of it before, you can imagine your colleagues talking down on you because you disagree on points with them, to the point of expulsion. Is it the government that asked them to expel their members? Is it the government that said the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Section 40, freedom of association? If we are government lackeys, the government, anybody who has proof of that should come to the public. You who are sat needs to prove. So the point is, the circumstances surrounding our registration put us in that bad spotlight. In fact, if there's anything... I just told you about the struggle for government, for the Minister of Education to meet us.
You know, it's all duly noted, but from some of what you say, it seems like the unions need to unionize themselves against other unions as well, because there's a lot going on there. But we thank you for your insight, and we do continue to follow this story as we await a speedy resolution.